Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down here on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'm going to be your host today, Benny Ricciardi. You can follow me on Twitter at BennyR11. And today we're going to be talking a little NFL football. So I got my man Austin Mock here with me today to kind of break down some of the NFL football stuff for this weekend. Week 12 we got coming up. Can you believe we're already in Week 12 here, Austin?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's not too much of the season left. It's getting to a depressing time. Football's ending.
Yeah, hey, we still got a little bit more, though. So we still got a couple more weeks here where we can make money. Now, Austin is one of our NFL experts over here at EliteSportsBetting.com, and he usually puts his numbers together for the weekend sometime around the middle of the week. So, he was done with his numbers yesterday. I said I wanted to get him on right away so he can kind of break some of this stuff down for you. But before we get into the numbers, Austin, being that this is the first time we're doing this, kind of let people know a little bit about who you are and how you go about putting your stuff together to come up with your bets for the week.
Yeah. So, like you said, my name's Austin. Everything I do, mostly 95% of it is all, model based. So I'm taking metrics for different teams and I'm putting them in, and basically the numbers getting spit out. Now, football gets a little different. You can't make it fully like a player model. So there's a little bit like if the whole defense is out, obviously your defensive rating might get a little. So there is a little bit of, just common sense there. So it's not strictly numbers for me, but I'd say 95% of what I do is numbers based.
Yeah, and that's actually a good thing. We're trying to take some of the emotion out of it. That's the way you're supposed to go about sports betting. Leave the emotion at the door and just kind of follow the numbers, follow what you're saying, and try to find the edges. So that's what we want to do here today. With your model and with everything you put in, what games are you looking at this week that you see some edges that we can take advantage of?
Yeah, it's a pretty there's some ugly games out there. I mean, anytime there's like, Miami's been so bad all year, and the Redskins and Bengals are now in that territory, it cuts out kind of part of the board. You don't want to really go toward, at least I don't want to go towards those games. But there are a couple.
And we also have the buys this week too. So there's a couple.
Yeah. So, as well. It's some weeks can get ugly in the NFL. You end up betting on some bad quarterbacks, which is always scary. So, and that's where I'm going to start. The first game that I like is the Giants. I don't like Daniel Jones. The Giants over the +6 over the Bears. I'm not a big fan of Daniel Jones, but luckily we're betting against a bad quarterback. Whether Mitchell Trubisky gets the start, I think he's probable now, or if Chase Daniel steps in because of last week at the end of that game. I just think the Bears are not a good team. Their defense obviously is still good, but their offense is so poor. Bottom 5 unit in the league probably. I just think the Giants are coming off a bye. 6 points. I just don't know if the Bears are able to, with struggling to generate offense. 6 points in the NFL is a lot to cover. They are at home, but I'll take the Giants off the bye this week.
Yeah, I've actually even seen that as high as 6.5 in some places. I know DraftKings Sportsbook has them at +6.5. I think FanDuel might as well, and I think over at MGM they did too. So I'll take the hook if you're going to give it to me. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, I went with 6. I think we're in it might be coming down to 6, but if you can get a 6.5, more power to you. You'll take that hook every time.
Yeah. Are there any other games that are standing out to you this week?
Yeah, so another one I like, the Packers, +3, maybe against the Niners. Maybe a theme here. I'm going with another team off a bye here. San Fran, I don't know if they're trending down, but I think the 3 is just too much here. I think the Packers are a little underrated. A couple weeks ago, what was that game against the Chargers? They lost like 24-3 or something horrible. So I think they're a little undervalued off a bye. I think that offense is starting to click, where I think the 49ers are starting to trend down. I don't think that defense is as good as what people think. It's still top 5 for me, but I like Green Bay here catching a field goal on the road after a bye.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that San Francisco, I mean, they had that hot start. They had a couple games against some teams that we now know are kind of fugazi, and some of those wins are not as not as impressive as we thought they were earlier in the year. So I actually kind of like that. They got a lot of injuries going there, and Green Bay on the other side is getting a little bit healthier. I mean, obviously you got Adams back, and that's such a huge deal for that offense, especially considering the, group of wide receivers who we never heard of, who were playing 60-70% of snaps at one point because they didn't have anybody else out there to go out there. So let's talk a little bit about betting strategies before we get into the, your best bet for the day as well. When you're getting down on NFL, are you usually playing, are you taking the points and laying the points? Are you going money line on a lot of this stuff? Are you, are you teasing things? Are you, how do you go about doing it on a typical weekend?
Usually it's point spread and totals for me. If money line from a game that's close, we'll say Green Bay for instance, we'll take that. They're +3, so that game's pretty close. Either team could win, and nobody's gonna be shocked. So I could maybe sprinkle a little bit of money line there. It's not something I usually do a lot, but it's not. I don't tease very much. There might be a couple spots a year that I like teasing, but I feel like you always find yourself loving one teaser leg, and then you're forced. You're scouring the board like, which one do I want here?
I know exactly how you feel.
That happens to me a lot. Yeah, the one you love hits easy, and then the other one, like you take a 7.5 point favorite, and they somehow kick a field goal at the end to win against someone horrible, and you're just kicking yourself for maybe just not betting the team straight up. So
yeah, Minnesota Vikings last week. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So garbage scores just ruin teasers, I feel like, all the time. So mostly for me, it's just spreads and totals, money line here or there. There's a money line, like if you get a team +1, maybe +1.5. Money line might be a little better to take because 1.5.
At that point, you basically need them to win anyway. So if you
not too many games come down to one. A little bit more now that the extra points move back, but we'll see from there.
Now, you know what? You actually brought up a good point there. I don't know if you even have these numbers, but it's something that I've been wondering. With the extra point being moved back, I feel like we've seen more misses this year. And I also feel like with the analytics kind of catching on, you're seeing a lot more teams going for 2 in those situations. How do you build that into a model, the differences than the way it used to be where everyone used to just score and kick the extra point and it was an automatic 7, as opposed to now where the 7's not automatic and it's not even automatic that they're going to go for it. Is there a way to model for that, or is it just kind of captured with a lot of the other stuff that you put in?
Yeah, so it's built in, not quickly. The good thing is, at least for me with modeling it, the whole league hasn't switched to going for 2 yet. It is more prevalent. But, you still have teams, no matter what, they're kicking, unless they're down 2 late in the fourth, they're kicking, they'll go down 1 for some reason. So that, that's slowly, changing. So over time, the key numbers, 3, 7, they're getting a little bit, they're still insanely valuable. Getting 7 over 6.5 is a ton more valuable, but it's starting to lose its edge a little bit. So, if you have a game at 7, your edge is just maybe a little bit smaller than, say, 5 years ago.
Right.
But it's not too big yet to where, 7's not key. 7 is huge.
Okay. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. I want your best bet for this weekend for NFL. What's the one that, you think our subs should be looking at the hardest and, putting their hard-earned money on this week? Oh, we lost your volume there. I think your volume just went out. Your volume went out. I don't know if you hit the mute button or something. No, you're off. All right, now you're back. There you go. Yeah,
sorry. Anyway, it's not a pick I love just because they've been just ugly, but the model, has it as the biggest edge this week. The Rams are +3 at home. They don't get a ton of maybe any home field, very little. And, of course, they're playing probably the hottest team in football right now. The Ravens are just they just annihilated the Texans last week. A couple weeks ago, they annihilated the Patriots, who everybody thought was the best team. I think this is the classic case of we're overrating Baltimore. I feel like this happens, a couple times a year where, team runs off 3 straight games that they look, unbeatable. And then all of a sudden, they lose one that's out of nowhere. The Rams are a team that, everybody thought was really good coming into the year, and now they've, offensive line issues, and, Jared Goff isn't playing great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a little bit of a, buy low on the Rams, sell high on the Ravens spot for me. So I think +3, you can get that like +101, +100. So you're getting a good price on +3. Maybe a 3.5 will come up here later in the week. I don't know. But that's my best bet for the week.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting thing. If you look at the NFL, I mean, 3 weeks ago, everybody would have told you it was going to be a San Francisco, New England Super Bowl. Yep. And 5 weeks ago, everybody would have said it was the Saints and, probably still New England no, the Saints and the Kansas City Chiefs at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So that's a really good point is, they play 16 games for a reason. Teams get hot at certain times. Guys are healthy. Teams are not healthy. And that really changes the perception of stuff. If you would have asked at the beginning of the year, you probably would have thought that the Rams would be an even bigger favorite in this game. And, now you're looking at it and they're catching some points. So that's
you look at the Ravens, what was it, week like 3 or 4, sometime early in the year when they lost, they got crushed by the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Browns then went and lost a bunch of games. So everybody's like, oh, the Ravens, like, they're not that good. We'll see. Like, people were starting to think if the Steelers could win the AFC North, and now, that seemed like a month ago.
Yep.
And now here we are. We're saying, Baltimore is the AFC favorite. So, this, like you said, this is the third AFC favorite already this year. So, by week 16, maybe someone else comes up, or maybe Kansas City or New England takes that back.
It's funny. I mean, if you bet the futures markets for some of these teams, at various points in the year, you could have got any one of those 3 teams we just mentioned that +500 or 600, and at various points you would have been laying money at -150 for any of them to be the team to make it to the Super Bowl, and that's just kind of the way it works sometimes.
Yeah.
So there you go. We got we got Austin's best bet on the Rams this week is the way he's going to go about doing it. And remember, guys, all week long for the week of Thanksgiving, we're going to be offering a free preview of the EliteSportsBetting.com package. Videos like this that come out for every sport. We also have 5 or 6 different experts in, NFL, NBA, PGA, soccer, MMA, everybody's putting their bets in over there on the package. So make sure you get over there, check out the free preview. I could just about guarantee you if you check out the free preview and you look at some of these bets, you're going to be able to make some money this week. And, this way you're going to want to keep seeing the package. So we figure we'll offer you guys a week free during Thanksgiving when everyone's home watching football and betting anyway. And, when we offer the free week, you guys will make enough money to sign up and, ride with us for the rest of the season and make some money. So for Austin Mock, this is Benny Ricciardi. You guys have been watching The Opening Line at EliteSportsBetting.com.